To enjoy a good latte or make latte art, you need the right milk texture. But is it possible to perfectly froth any kind of milk without an espresso machine? Well, I wanted to find out, so I spent the past few weeks testing the DREO Barista Maker and trying all of its frothing modes with every type of milk I could find at my nearest grocery store. And the results? Well, you gotta see for yourself. So if you want to know how this machine performs with different types of milk, if the texture is good for latte art, or if this is the best option in the market for you, just keep watching because I'll be answering all of these questions and more. Oh, and stay until the end because I'll give my Happy Bean rating to help you determine if you're getting enough bang for your buck. Let's go! The Barista Maker is a milk frother developed by DREO, a company that makes and distributes household appliances, mostly fans, tower fans, smart fans, ceiling fans, and some other products. But why does this matter? Their expertise with fans is present in the milk frother, and you'll see what I mean later. They assembled a team of coffee experts to explore the science of creating perfect milk foam, especially for latte art. And here's the outcome: an all-in-one frother designed for both performance and ease of use. But does it deliver? I'll put it to the challenge. But first, let's see what you get with this device. The Barista Maker's body has two main components: the base and the jug. It's a simple design, close to 10 inches tall and a bit over 5 inches wide. The outside of both pieces is made out of brushed stainless steel. The upside of this material is that it looks good on any kitchen setting and it's super easy to clean. The downside is that it actually gets dirty a bit too fast and holds fingerprints and grease easily, especially if you have it on your regular kitchen top where you also do your cooking. The base is where the controls and the heating element are, which, as you can see, I already let burn with all of the use while preparing for this review. This is actually normal on these devices and doesn't affect functionality, so nothing to worry about aside from aesthetics. For a better experience, it's got a small LCD display and 5 touch buttons to select and customize your settings. We'll go through those in a moment. The handle of the jug is made out of hard plastic though, which is great to keep it cool and avoid burns, since all of the heating happens in here. Now, what sets this product apart are the tips. The Barista Maker comes equipped with 2 types of tips with a magnetic tip holder. The first one is a traditional disc tip that will froth any milk just as any other frother would. But this is their patented impeller disc, which indeed it's basically a small fan. But this is where the magic happens. The disc itself is made out of 2 elements: the impeller blade and a micro-level screen. When it's texturizing the milk, it draws the flow to the center for a much more uniform froth that simulates what we do with a steam wand in an espresso machine. Now, how does this compare to traditional milk steaming or milk frothing? When we steam milk, we incorporate hot steam in a spiral motion. During this process, we introduce tiny bubbles into the milk, making it sweet, creamy, and smooth. The bubbles are so small they're barely visible, and they produce this velvety texture that we call microfoam. Steamed milk can be achieved with essentially any milk: full fat, skim milk, and even oat, coconut, soy, or almond milk. However, the different contents of protein, sugar, and fat will affect the final texture. The more fat a liquid has, the less room there is for air. For example, skim milk will result in big, dry puffs, while whole milk results in a thicker, smoother foam, which is a lot easier to pour. For this reason, the exact movement and temperature of the milk during steaming plays a big role in the result that we get. This is what the Barista Maker promises to achieve with this patented method, which I find is a clever solution but raises the question: can it actually hold up to what you can get with a steam wand? If you can't replicate the same barista level results, then this is just a regular milk frother, right? Well, let's find out by trying to achieve silky milk texture with regular milk and also half and half, oat, coconut, almond, and soy milks. And here's a caveat about the Barista Maker. Although it claims to froth any milk, and this is true for dairy, there's actually a list of brands that they recommend for the plant-based options. I didn't find all of the recommended brands for the different types of milk, so this will influence the results in the test and shed some light in the performance of this frother. And a little disclaimer here: I am not a latte artist. In fact, this is one of my biggest weaknesses. So if you see my latte art looking a bit wonky, please forgive me in advance. With this out of the way, let's get going. Using the DREO Barista Maker is actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. The buttons on the left are for frothing, So here you choose your type of milk and select your desired foam texture based on the drink you want to make. In this mode, the device will adjust the speed and temperature based on your selection, which is the smart part of it in my opinion. On the right, you get the stirring mode, which is more basic. You just select stirring speed and temperature and it'll do the rest. After customizing your settings, it will remind you which tip to use. Just attach the tip and pour the milk to your desired quantity. You'll see the recommended volume markers inside the jug. The max level, if you want to make latte art, will yield about 10 ounces of steamed milk, which is the perfect volume for this cup, for example. Put the lid on and hit play. In the following tests, we'll focus on latte art consistency and we'll only be changing the type of milk we use. For our coffee base, we'll be extracting 18 grams of coffee to yield 36 ml out. And for pouring, I'll use the same cup and pour directly from DREO's jug. The initial test will be dairy, naturally. Whenever we talk about steaming milk, this will yield the most straightforward, ideal results because it has the perfect balance of protein, fat, and sugar. You can use any dairy milk with the Barista Maker. I have this one from Dairyland, which is homogenized 3.25%, also known as whole milk. After setting up the right kind of milk and the hot latte consistency, it asks me to place the impeller in. Pour the milk, hit start, and it automatically starts the timer. It'll take 3.5 minutes to froth, the perfect time to work on my espresso shot. And for you to like this video, and if you're getting any value from it, please consider subscribing to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it really helps me grow. Okay, the milk is now ready, so let's see what we got here. And that is simply fantastic. It looks great, like fresh white paint, no visible bubbles. It's silky, shiny, and easy to pour, even with the bulky jug. The mouthfeel is smooth, rich, and very sweet. It's up to the level of any cafe latte, and the temperature is also correct and very enjoyable. 10 out of 10. Good to mention, if I were to use 2%, for example, it will require more aeration to get the same results, so I'd need to set it to hot cappuccino instead. Before we continue with the test, some people might ask, what else can you do with this smart milk frother? If you're not making espresso-based drinks or you don't want the texture to be foamy and simply need to heat it up, you can also choose to stir your milk or water at high or low speed. And you're able to select your temperature too, either cold or ranging from 130 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. You can use this mode to stir drinks like protein powder, chocolate powder, matcha, etc. For example, I like mixing my mushroom coffee here for those moments when I want to lower my caffeine intake for the day. Back to testing, and the next is a fan favorite, oat milk. I'll run the test with Oatly, which is among the listed brands they recommend. I'm using the barista style, which incorporates more fat to produce a creamier texture similar to dairy. As you can see, the result looks beautifully silky and shiny. And oh my, it poured like a dream as well. Definitely passed the test. And due to the increased difficulty of steaming oat milk, I'll give this a 10 out of 10. However, truth be told, I don't drink Oatly. Not that I dislike it, I just really love Earth's Own. This is not sponsored, I'm just used to the taste. It's easy accessible where I shop, and it's simply my favorite oat drink. So I wanted to see what will happen if I decided to steam with an unlisted brand. And well, as you can see, it's certainly not ideal. There are more bubbles present and the milk is not fully incorporated. Instead, you can see this visible separation of the foam and the liquid as it pours. It surely doesn't work for latte art. The texture is still smooth and the taste is sweet, so I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Now let's check out half and half. I'm not here to judge you, but I really don't understand why anyone drinks regular lattes. Something's just off with that in my brain. But well, actually the higher fat content may be beneficial here. And hey, this looks beautiful. The taste though is not as good as dairy. It's a bit bitter and it's not giving me a rich mouthfeel either. This is more on me, but we're judging the latte art texture and the consistency is there. So 9 out of 10 for this one. We still have to see almond, soy, and coconut milk. But let me tell you one thing that I love about the DREO Barista Maker and one that I don't enjoy that much. I really like that it has a timer so you know how much time you've got left. I put the milk in and I've got plenty of time to prepare my espresso puck. So I'd rather extract as close as possible to the milk being done to have the best possible result and at the best temperature. Once the milk is ready, you could pour directly from the Barista Maker's jug. But believe it or not, the added weight and relative bulkiness of it will influence your pouring. So depending on the design I'm pouring, I may choose to transfer to another pitcher that makes it easier for me to pour more intricate or fine line designs. Watch until the end if you want to know how to choose the right pitcher. Next test is almond milk, my nemesis. At the cafe, it was a challenge for me to froth almond milk since the texture is incredibly thin, water-like, and it's so hard to get it right. This one is from the listed brand names that the Barista Maker promises to work. But it's not a barista version, which usually contains more protein to achieve a better texture. So let's see how that goes. And okay, that doesn't actually look so great. It's very foamy, but there's some white on top, so not all is lost. It doesn't taste burnt, and the consistency is not watery, which is usually what happens when steaming this carelessly. Also, I may not have done the best work with the pouring. So 7 out of 10. Important to note, I ran all of this testing back to back, only stopping to rinse and reset. I brewed a total of 10 drinks and it always delivered. I noticed that the lower part of the device was noticeably warmer after 5 or 6 drinks, but this didn't seem to compromise the texture or the aeration of the drinks. So even the ones made outside the testing stage for additional footage had the same consistency as the first one. Just in case you're considering using this for multiple drinks one after the other, it really seems to deliver. Now let's see what happens with soy milk. This one is also tricky to foam, although for me, not as tricky as almond. Usually, if you start texturizing since the very beginning with a steam wand, you can introduce enough air to produce latte art. The little detail is that I couldn't find any of the listed brand names, so it's gonna be an adventure whether this foams right or not in here. And the answer is interesting. It is thicker than expected. Pouring might be limited because of this, but the taste is good and the texture is rich and foamy. It's actually a very good mouthfeel. Maybe if I used the right brand, I would have got an even better result. So let's give this one a 6 out of 10. Lastly, let's check coconut milk. Just as with soy, I couldn't find any of the listed brand names. So being honest, by now, I'm not really expecting this to work. But the only way to know is trying. And nope! The protein and fat particles broke and seems to be creating some sort of cloud in this milk. It's full of bubbles. It doesn't fully integrate with the coffee. Rather, you have these small particles on their own, making this abstract canvas. The taste and smell reminded me of Christmas though. Still, no good for latte art. 3 out of 10 due to smooth texture. The DREO Barista Maker certainly delivers on the promise of producing milk texture for latte art pouring. If you're looking to streamline your process, make it easy and pain-free, this device would be the best option for you. If you already own an espresso machine though, this may not make a lot of sense. Learning how to properly sting milk is a hard skill to learn, but still achievable. Although I have to admit that having something like the Barista Maker can assist you in learning how to pour without the waste associated with inappropriately steaming milk over and over again, especially when you're only making 1 or 2 lattes a day. So this will be a nice tool for beginner home baristas. This is why I give the DREO Barista Maker a happy bean rating of 3.8. This device delivers on the promise to achieve barista-level latte art consistency every time. Keep in mind that you need to follow their instructions to the T and pay special attention to the brand of milk you choose when using plant-based alternatives. The device is easy to use, easy to clean, and doesn't take up too much space on the counter. The price point is reasonable, and compared to its competitors, you're definitely getting value for your money. If you're convinced to get yourself a DREO Barista Maker, make sure to get it using the link below. This supports my channel and DREO's project. Now, whether you use the Barista Maker or a normal steam one for your latte art milk, the truth is that having the right tools is what's going to help you perfect your skills. So watch this video and learn how to choose the right milk pitcher for your latte art journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you there.